but effective.
Welcome to another episode of Boring But Effective. We have a superstar in our midst today, ladies and gentlemen. He played 180-odd games of rugby league. He's done some amazing work for charity. He is an Order of an Australia medalist. I speak of none other than Mark MG Geyer. Welcome, MG.
Davey, how are you, my man? Thanks for having me on.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for coming on. Now, we have a bit of a chat on this show about there's a lot of boring stuff that goes on that people have to do to make themselves who they are and get successful. So if we go back to the start with you, tell us how a young fella from Granville, you came through the ranks to get a gig at Penrith there in 1986, represent New South Wales in 89, and then you finally made your test debut in 1990.
Yeah, well, I was born at Auburn Hospital, and my dad's the youngest of 10 kids, and mum's the youngest of 4. And they moved out to Mount Druitt when I was 18 months old. So I lived in a place called Wayland for 20 years in Mount Druitt. And then I started playing footy at about 5 years of age. Bloke across the road joined the local team called Wayland Warriors, and I started playing for them, and I think we won the under sixes our second year in, and then we won under 11s, and then I changed clubs and went to North Mount Druitt, and the year at Rudy Hill, and then I played for St Mary's the 2 years up before I went to grade in under 16s and under 17s. So I went to grade as a 17-year-old in 1985, and yeah, mate, I was just like most kids, loved footy. Stayed out until the traffic lights, till the lights in the street would come on, and then that was my time to go into the kitchen table.
Yep.
But yeah, I had a dad who worked late, and he would come home, and no matter what mood he was in, he'd always play footy with me out the backyard or the front yard, or if it was summer, he'd throw the cricket ball over and do some batting. So that always helps.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrific. And when you made it at Penrith there, the good times rolled on?
Yeah, I played 1985. I played every game off the bench as a 17-year-old after Tim Sheens recognised me at a Jersey Fleet trial. And I just gained untold experience then. And then the year later, I played under 23s for the whole year, and we made the grand final. We got beat by South, I think, in that game, 13-0. But they really stacked their team. So we went the following year. I went to the end of that year, 1986, the very last game of the year. We played Parramatta at Parramatta Stadium, and it was Ray Price and Mick Cronin's last game at Parramatta before they obviously go and play finals. So I got on with about 5 minutes to go in that game, so I got to play against two of the greats at Para, and in 87 I played 12 first grade games, and that was when I kind of cemented my spot in the first grade team.
Fantastic. That was a huge achievement. Just to play one game's massive, but to really get your spot. Now, if we move forward a bit, in 91, you've been playing some great footy, but you wrecked your ankle at training. And this kind of fits in how if you're not disciplined, you're not doing the stuff behind the scenes. How did you actually get yourself rehabbed in time and get yourself up for the finals and ultimately be part of that first Penrith comp win?
We had really good physios at Penrith, and one of the physios is still my physio today, Rob Standen, and I would go to his house up in the Falconbridge, up at the mountains, about 3 or 4 times a week while I was recovering from my ankle injury, which I needed. The ankle was torn ligaments in the ankle, which I had to get a reconstruction after the 91 grand final. So I played like 8 weeks with this torn ligament in my ankle. But I got it knitted up and got it treated, and I suppose back then you did that type of thing. If it was today, they'd probably give you a couple of weeks off, or you'd be in a moon boot, or what. I didn't know what a moon boot was back then, but 1990 we got beat in the grand final, and then four of us went away on a kangaroo tour, which we were lucky to do that. Myself and Brandy and Johnny Cartwright and Brad Fitler went away, and we came back and we changed our jerseys, and we went from the old chocolate soldiers to licorice all sorts, and there was a bit of a change, and we only lost 4 games all year, but we did play North Sydney in the prelim, and I think Daryl Harrigan, who was the best sharpshooter back then, I think he kicked 1 from 5 or something, and we won by 4 points. So
Yeah.
we were lucky probably to make that 91 grand final, but when we did, it was the same score at half time, 12-6, we were down, and it was Roy Simmons' last game. That was probably the biggest difference from the year before, and he made a passionate plea to us all that he didn't want to go out this way, and 10 minutes in the second half, I got sin binned, and I thought that was it. I just lost the game for my team, and
Oh, shit.
yeah, but yeah, went back on and had a couple of try assists, and because I was fresh, back in them days, you didn't have unlimited interchange. So, once I got replaced, I think we only had the forward and the back on the bench, and once I went back on, then I played with 12 men for 10 minutes of that second half, and when I watched the game back on replay, which I've done a lot of times. The Raiders didn't get out of their own half. Royce Simmons and Nobby Clark and Paul Dunn and Cole Vandervoort, they all just tackled their asses off. And so I come on fresh, and they kind of got a bit of a boost from that. And we went on to win the big one, 19-12, against the Raiders, who beat us the year before.
Not only come on fresh, but I'm sure you had that burning desire of, shit, what have I done here? I've copped 10 minutes with one man down. We've got to do something about this, and love the way you go about it, mate. You certainly got there. So one ankle was good, and one was full of elastopast and
needles
and deadening. Yeah. No, that's so good. Now after footy. So footy was a big part of your identity there for quite a while, and you're a fair celebrity out that way, and a lot of those Penrith guys have gone on. Your brother-in-law Brandy obviously is still big in the mix out there. You've worked tirelessly for some charities. You've been the Order of Australia. You've got your Five for Life podcast. Tell us a bit about what's on your plate at the moment, big fella?
Well, as soon as I retired in 2000, that's 26 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
I was kind of drawn towards charities, and I started working with the New South Wales Sports with Disabilities as a fundraiser for them. And at the same time, I was doing a bit of media. I jumped straight into that with Sunrise program. As soon as I retired, asked me to do a Friday and a Monday thing with them. And as I was driving home from one of the times I was in at Sunrise, I got a call from a radio station at Campbelltown called C91.3, and then they asked me if I could do the same thing, that I'd get some preview and a review. And I said, yeah, sure. Yeah. So that was, we had 3 kids when I retired, and you go from a good wage down to $750 a week, and you've got bills to pay. And I had a local businessman who has been a great supporter of Penrith and a great supporter of mine called Lou Zavanovic, who gave me a job selling clothing apparel to schools and sporting apparel to footy clubs out the back of a car for a while, which kept me busy. And then I started just delving into other facets of life, trying to work out what was best for me, and I realised that I liked the media side of it. I think I'd done every AM station. I started with ABC and worked with Tim Gable, and then I did a bit of time on 2UE, 2GB, Talking Sport I did for 3 years on 2SM. And I started with Triple M in 2007, doing their footy. And so I was doing Dead Set Legends on a Saturday. And then a new show popped up, and they were looking for a third host. And I went for an audition and got the job, and did the grill team on Triple M for 9 years.
Mm.
Then I was in doing the afternoon slot, from 6 to 7 for a few years, the rush hour,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went back to breakfast. And then like the year before last, they said our time's up together. So luckily I got a call from 2GB the very next day, and they said, "Do you want to come over to work?" And I said, "Yep." And I'm glad I did, because that's the last 18 months have been highly enjoyable, and I've loved every second of it. But while I was at Triple M, I had the good fortune to, well, not real good fortune, because it was a sad story, but the Queensland floods were on in about 2010, and we were doing our show. We had a couple of blokes up there doing the show and reporting back to us and saying how bad it was. And I went up with a producer just to check it out, and couldn't believe the devastation up there. So when I went back to Sydney, I spoke to the big bosses at Triple M, and I said I wouldn't mind trying to get a charity footy game together
Nice.
with all ex-players,
Yep.
raise some money for these poor bastards up north. And there was one story in particular that caught me. There was a young kid called Jordan Rice, passed away in the floods, and his story was one that kind of got to me a bit. And we ended up speaking to his dad on air, and then I got to work, and I had all these ex-players' names down. I had New South Wales and Queensland ex-players, and as I rang each person, not one of them said no. So we had 20 on each team, and we got Parramatta Stadium, got NXS to play before the game. We had 20,000 tickets sold. We had auctions to be part of Queensland, part of New South Wales, which a couple of blokes did, and in the end we raised close to $500,000 for the flood relief. So that was one of the highlights of my post-footy career by far.
Unreal.
And that was, when you're in a position to do that, it's you don't think about your profile at all as you're going through life. You just think that I want to do something. If I can, I will. And then So yeah, that was amazing. So it's been busy, but I've got 5 kids and 2 grandkids at the moment, and they're the apple of my eye. They're my wife. I've been with my wife for 40 years this year in October together. So I'm a great family man, I believe, and I love just hanging out with them a lot.
Yeah, I know we had to reschedule. You had your daughter's 30th on the weekend. I hope you had a great party there, and
I'm still getting over it.
Hey, still getting over it.
Still getting over it.
I'm sure the grandkids kept you under control as well. The little
They do.
suckers.
They do. And everyone tells you that before you have children, that it's the best thing you'll ever do. And when you have kids, it's the best. See what your wife goes through to bring someone so special into the world, and then people say, "What, do you have grandkids?"
Yeah.
And we've got a little boy, River, who's nearly 2, and a little granddaughter called Ren, who's about 4 or 5 months old, and every day that we don't see him is a sad one.
Yeah. That's really cool. Now, back to the footy a bit.
Yep.
Now, later on, you did get the opportunity to go out to the Western Reds there and play a year with your brother, the Melbourne Storm Premiership star in Matt.
Yeah.
But before that, you went from Penrith to the Tigers there for a year, and your boy Maverick's done the same. Take us through that and the process there, and how's he going?
He's going good. He's I did it because I'd left Penrith under personal reasons, and Alan Jones threw me a lifeline at Tigers, and I had 1 year there. But while I was there, I signed with the Western Reds. Gordon Allen, the CEO, and Peter Mulholland, the first coach of the Reds, came training one day and asked, could they meet with me? And I said, well, yeah, not here, but I said, but yeah, I'll come and see you tomorrow or the next day. And I did, and they put a 3-year offer on the table. I said, yep, okay, I'll agree to it. But I didn't tell Alan Jones that at the time. And then had a different year at Balmain. I didn't really want to be there, to be honest. And then the year after, Wayne Pearce was the coach of Tigers, and I just didn't. We're different cats, just different blokes, and I ended up playing that half a year up at, or more than that, 3/4 of a year at your minor.
Right.
So then we're back to. Then we went to the Western Reds in October of '94. Had my first son in the February of '95, and had 3 fantastic years in Perth. I loved every second of it. I had a son here up in Nepean, but then we flew over with him as a 2-week-old to back when in February of '95. Then our season started, and then I suppose Super League came in, and while it got me out of a lot of debt, it certainly wasn't good for the product of footy. It was fractured. It was beyond repair. Having 2 different competitions going, you can't really imagine that these days, but it was happening. And when we got word that the Reds were folding in '98, most of the team, Melbourne Storm, wanted.
Yeah, right.
They didn't want me, but I rang up Roy Simmons and said, "Can I come back to Penrith?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "But obviously you won't be on the money that you're on over at the moment." I said, "It's not about the money. It's about finishing something that I started."
Yeah.
And I came back to Penrith for 3 years, and it was a completely different role that I had. I was now a mentor. I was now 30 years of age, and I had, as I said, 3 kids under my belt.
Yep.
And I became a mentor for the young guys who are coming through, the Pritchard, the Paul Tour brothers, and Ned Kadich and Reece Wesser, and these guys who are very impressionable young guys. I get the chance to teach them about footy, which I love doing. So yeah, Mav signed with the Penrith team about 4 or 5 years ago, and obviously, he's been in a system which has won 4 comps in a row, so it's very hard to get looking when you're so successful. So Benji come knocking, and so then at the same time, so did the Bears. He signed with the Bears the next year, and so he's basically followed my footsteps, literally. Panthers, Tigers, Perth. So him and his girlfriend are looking to buy a house over there and settle over there, and I'd still be there if it wasn't for the breakup of the code. So I just found this. So that's up here for.
That's amazing.
So look, he's a great kid. Just needs an opportunity, I think, and he loves footy. He loves training, and so it's good to his debut was amazing. Had about 130 people go in 2 buses go down to the Allianz Stadium to watch him play against the Roosters, and
they are singing around. Maverick Geyer's on the ground. There you go. Son of a legend. Well, there's a crowd that if you've ever seen one. Giving the ball. He can score a try. I know that much. Here he goes. Good first run.
That was a proud moment. To see that your young bloke replicates what you see it so often with ex-players and blokes you played against, and blokes who are your teammates, seeing their offspring doing what they did, and when your kid does it, it's something very special.
Yeah, it's amazing. No, that sounds good. I look forward to watching him run out with the Bears and see you over there every now and then.
Yeah, can't wait.
Having a bit of a look. So the other thing I wanted to chat to you about was Life in 5. Tell us about the podcast and some of the great work you're doing there.
You know what, Dave? I just thought of something different. I was sitting here a couple of years ago with my wife at my house, and it was summer. We were out near the pool, having a glass of wine together, and for some reason, we're just looking through my photos on my phone of yesteryear. And my first thought was that I wouldn't mind. I've met so many people through radio, in particular Triple M, like stars, and I always just to get a selfie with them every time they walk in the studio.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about just writing a book and having a picture of each person in the book and giving them having a chat about each person and what they were like and a bit of insight. I still might do that. I don't know. But then I come up with an idea of there's a lot of podcasts out there that obviously talk about rugby league, and I listen to a lot of them. I thought, well, I just been another voice in a pretty crowded area, so I wanted to do something different. And I thought, well, what if I asked my guests to bring 5 photos that have basically shaped their life up to where they are now? And I think I've done 48 interviews so far in the last 18 months, and every single person I've spoken to has blown me away with something I didn't know about them.
Yeah.
Which has been, because I don't do any homework. I just say, what's this photo about?
Yep.
Why'd you bring this photo? And then that we speak for about 6 or 7 minutes of that photo, and some of it's been emotional. Some of it's, Ray Martin was fantastic, and obviously funny blokes like Clive Fletcher and all the Channel 9, James Bracey, and all the 2UE guys I've done, Fordham and Mark Levy and Josh Morris and Piggy Riddell. Piggy Riddell's got a good story to tell about his daughter who is severely disabled, and I didn't know about that.
Yeah, right.
And when it come to that photo, he said, I knew I'd cry when this came on. He did. And that's the emotive part about it all. It's I just like people to tell their stories, and I like people to walk away going, wow, that was interesting. And so, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I've got some good sponsors on board with Hertz and Southlands and Lily Pilly Wines. I pay my guests in wine, which is always a bit of a lure. But yeah, I'm recording. I'm going to record some more in July. I try and knock out 10 or 11 or 12 in a month, and then let them fly out, and then go back and do some more for the rest of the year.
Sounds fantastic. I like it. It's unscripted. It's raw, and it's just as interesting for you to hear how they're responding and coming up with your questions on the run as the people that are answering. It's so good. Yeah. Hey, thanks so much, mate. Next part of what we do on here on Boring but Effective, I've got 2 more questions for you.
Go for it.
Probably not dissimilar to what you do on Life of 5, but question number 1, what's your favourite food?
My favourite food? Well, anything my wife makes is absolutely awesome. Like simple stuff like steak sandwiches I love, or she cooks up a nice chicken curry, baked dinners. But if I had to have a death row meal, I would have a mixed kebab.
A mixed kebab?
A chicken and beef kebab I have olives, I have pineapple, I have tabbouleh, I have chili sauce, and I have garlic sauce as a combat to each other. And then some couple of pieces on the side, couple of pieces of pizza on the side with a big, nice original Coke. That'd be my death row meal.
That sounds fantastic. So, question 2 is, now Megan's organised all this for you. She's put it all together. There you are. You're sitting out on the back patio beside the pool.
Yep.
And you can invite one person, living or deceased in the history of the universe, to enjoy your kebab pizza and your full strength.
Wow.
Who does MG choose?
One person.
Yeah.
Well, if I invite someone, I'd definitely put the pizzas away. I'd get the wine out and have a couple of glasses of wine with them. Because I grew up as a tragic Elvis Presley fan. In my house, that was all it was played. Mum and Dad loved him, and I've got to say that Elvis Presley would probably be that person, or Michael Hutchence from INXS. They're my favourite band of all time, and I got the chance to meet him a couple of times in the early mid-90s. He was just a fantastic bloke, and I suppose modern day would be Jack Black.
Yeah, he's terrific, isn't he?
I follow him on Instagram, and just seeing his head makes me laugh.
Yeah, he's a super talented fella, but he's just
if you haven't seen a movie that was about 30 years ago, School of Rock.
Yeah, Yeah.
He plays a substitute teacher, and it's in my top 5 movies of all time. I love it, and I love him. So yeah.
Good old
question.
Dewey. Good old Dewey. He's amazing. That's an old school battle of the bands type thing. It's so good.
Yeah.
So we got the King, Elvis, we got Michael Hutchins, and we got Jack Black.
Maybe a sportsman. If I had to pick a sports person, it'd probably be my favourite team growing up were Manly.
Yep.
And Graham Eady was always my favourite player. So I know the Wombat's not doing it too well at the moment as far as his health goes. So I'd bring him over to cheer him up as well.
Sounds brilliant. So throw in the Wombat too, and that's a nice little party at your place.
And you know what? Let's get Gordon Ramsay there as well. He can cook everything for us.
Give Megan the night off.
Yeah, you're off, babe. Gordon's cooking. You sit back and relax.
Fantastic. Oh, that's so good. Hey, MG, do you do sportsman nights and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I do. I do. Anyone can get hold of me.
So we'll put your stuff here on the screen. If you need MG to come down to your sports club after training on a Thursday, he'll have you in stitches and tell you some of the amazing stories throughout his career and the life on 5 as well.
If you've got fundraisers and stuff, you want an ex-player to come and talk at your sportsman's lunch, give me a hoy. Just follow me on Instagram and follow my podcast, as you said, Dave. And I appreciate it, buddy. I'll be staying tuned to the boring but effective podcast as well, buddy.
Thank you, MG. And any financial planning stuff, you can hit me up, D. Walter and Associates, on the LinkedIn and YouTube.
I can endorse this man. He's very good at what he does.
Thank you so much, MG. Hey, great to chat with you. All the best for the rest of the week. Cheers, mate.
Go the Blues.
Yeah.
Boring but effective.